welcome to JLTV. This is Stand With Us, and I'm Roz Rothstein, your host. I'm the CEO of Stand With Us, a most amazing organization that I think you should support, especially if you can, and try to find us other people to support us so that we can do the important work that we do on college campuses and high schools and middle schools, and the things we print to explain Israel's story to the world, and our social media. Check it all out, and you'll see that it is worth your partnership. But today we have a very special show, and we are going to be talking about Volunteers for Israel. Volunteers for Israel. And you can think about this because maybe you can be a volunteer for Israel, and I bet after you hear the show today, you may actually consider doing this. So here we have Michael Stepper. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are a volunteer for Israel?
Yes, I'm an ambassador with VFI, Volunteers for Israel.
Terrific. And also Marcia Sells, you are a volunteer for Israel?
Yes, and I'm also an ambassador working to recruit new people, new volunteers. There needs to be a continuous stream of volunteers.
So will one of you be the next volunteer? So is it, as people are listening, is there some age requirement, or is there some requirement that they...
18 to 80 years of age.
Nice.
Can do some work and have the desire and the capacity to contribute and receive the satisfaction that we receive from volunteering for the State of Israel.
So they need to be able to do it. They need to be able to be helpful.
We work mostly in packing supplies, checking inventories, warehousing kinds of jobs. So it's not brain taxing, but it's brain enjoyment.
Gotcha. Okay, but it sounds like a really special experience, and I know that the two of you are going to tell us all about your experiences. But first, before we talk about that, why don't we just find out a little bit about the two of you? Tell me, Michael, why Israel? Why is Israel so important to you?
Well, I grew up with a very strong sense of being a Jew and of supporting Israel. And like I told you, I can still remember being a boy during the Six-Day War and being so concerned and then being so proud, you know, of their victory. You know, I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure if we brought it up, that the volunteering is on IDF basis, you know.
Yes.
And we wear the IDF work uniform, and we live in the barracks, and we eat in the mess hall, and we live the life of course, non-combat, you know, but live the life of an ordinary IDF soldier on the base. That's what's so wonderful and fulfilling about it.
So this specifically is Volunteers for Israel on Israeli Army bases.
Yes, there
Correct.
are 20
Yes.
bases that participate in the program, 20 non-combat bases that participate in the program.
Good. So, but we're going to hear more about the particulars in a minute. So I just want to get back to why, you know, this resonates so much for you, because you could be volunteering for another country. There are a lot of people that do, and they do good work, but you want to volunteer your services for Israel. And you said 1967 was a turning point for you?
No, I just remember being a little boy sitting at the kitchen table with my mother and grandmother, and before the Six-Day War, we were so worried and so scared for Israel. I remember reading the New York Post, and it showed how, you know, outnumbered they were, and we were really scared, and I was so proud. You know, I still feel that pride, you know, when they won, when they beat, you know, 6 or 7 countries so terribly outnumbered and you know, and recaptured, you know, the Western Wall. It's, you know, I still feel it.
So I want to tell you a couple things. First of all, 1967 was also a turning point for me, although I was already involved as a very young Zionist. I'm a daughter of Holocaust survivors. And I came home the first day of the 67 war, and I found my mother, a Holocaust survivor, sitting on the couch and crying.
Yeah.
And I said, "What's wrong?" She says, "I'm so worried. I'm so worried about Israel. Oh my God, oh my God." You know, she was in a DP camp when Israel was declared a state. And you can only imagine what that would have been like for a Holocaust survivor who'd lost everything, who'd lost their home, to hear that Israel is now the reborn state of the Jewish people, and there is a home now. There is a home after all that they had lost. But so it was a bit of a turning point for me too, to see my mother that affected.
Yes.
It really, it hit home for me too. So Marcia, tell us a little bit about you and why Israel is the place. You want to be on an army base in Israel. Why?
Well, first I want to say that what you just said gave me chills, because people have turning points in their lives, but I have just always felt very attached to Israel because it's my cultural homeland. And that is a phrase that my daughter taught me. My daughter worked for the Jewish Federation of San Diego, at the San Diego Jewish Academy, always very attached. And although we were not totally observant Jews, we knew who we were. And it's really in my DNA. And at some point I felt, well, I can contribute money. That's good. But I wanted to do more. I wanted to be active. And I have always been attached to Jewish youth groups and Jewish groups. I'm a member of WITSO. And so I felt like this was something that I could do in a very active way. I just had no idea what a fabulous feeling I would have doing this and how affecting it is for me, but for the soldiers that I meet, for the civilian workers on the base, for the other volunteers, that to build my inner Jewish core and my relationship with Israel was a most extraordinary experience. And that really has been reinforcing over the years.
So you live in the United States, but Israel is your cultural homeland.
That's correct.
I like the way that sounds. I just returned from Israel, and I bought this, among other things. Of course, we support the economy greatly, personally.
Yes.
Besides Stand With Us. And this says, Im eshkachech Yerushalayim, Yishkach Yamini. So, Israel, of course, is very important, close to my heart. And this is my new thing that I bought it at Ir David, by the way. They have wonderful new mikvahs that they've uncovered, and great. Everybody go. It's amazing. Besides the tunnel tour in Jerusalem at the Kotel, go. It's been a long time since you've gone. Go. Okay, we will be right back because we are out of time for this segment, but you will be here and we are going to come right back and continue and hear more about the Army bases and what you actually do. Don't go away. Welcome back to JLTV. I'm Roz Rothstein, your host for Stand With Us, a fantastic organization that also has a television show every Tuesday night, so you need to join us every Tuesday night. It's always a fun, interesting, different Israel-related topic. And I want to tell you that I have a present for you. Not this necessarily, but you can order this if you want. Go to standwithus.com. At the very top, you'll see resources. Click on resources, and you can pick anything you want and ask for one piece, absolutely free, and say that Roz Rothstein said I could have one of these. Okay, ask for one, and we'll ship it to you at no cost. So back with you guys. You are fascinating. I just found out at the break that the two of you actually served and met on one of the Army bases during your last volunteer trip.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody there is wondering, how do I become a volunteer, right? So you will go to info@v as in very fi-usa.org. That's where you'll go, and you will find out all about how to apply for Volunteers for Israel. So I do have questions, though, about how much it costs for a volunteer for Israel. What is the cost to the volunteer?
Well, you're paying your own airfare, so the cost is variable. You can fly coach, you can fly cargo, you can fly first class, whatever you want. And then you meet you get assigned to a base, and your housing and food is done through the base until you're off. We serve Sunday morning till Thursday afternoon. They take you into Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or Haifa, wherever you're close to, and they will give you from Thursday afternoon until Sunday morning off.
Free? Okay.
No, well,
Off.
they have low-cost motels and hostels associated with the program. So it's relatively free or low cost.
To the time off.
Yes.
And the other time you're on the base, you have, obviously you have meals and your room and board, though basic, I'm sure.
You live on the base in barracks, typically. The volunteers will be in one room. There might be 4 to 6 people in a room. You're sleeping on an army cot, but you're so happy and tired you don't care. And then soldiers, you share the barracks with regular soldiers.
I am so delighted that we did this show, and I know you flew in overnight from New York to actually do this show and tell everybody about this. So it's very exciting to me because it sounds like such a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Great way for you to go see Israel, do something really important, support the soldiers. And I'm very good friends with Michael Oren. And I'll never forget one of the things he said. He said, in this day of the war of words and images and how Israel is being tainted and painted and unbelievable stuff and the boycott, campaigns and all this, at that time it's really super important for us outside of Israel to show this kind of support, to show the kind of support we give at Stand With Us, to teach Israel, to make sure that everybody is on the right page and supports this little tiny country that can fit into the state of California 22 times and is the size of New Jersey. So tell us about the meeting that you had and how you...
Roz, I just wanted to, first, if I may,
Sure.
just say what it is, how we help Israel. Really in 2 ways. When a volunteer, volunteers on a base, it's in place instead of a reservist. So the Israeli reservist can stay in the economy, continue his education, continue his work, so it strengthens the economy. And then the other thing is that it improves the morale of the soldiers. Like they get they feel supported. Yeah. All right, so to answer your question, Marcia and I were both assigned to a medical supply base in the center of the country and is responsible for the medical supplies to all the various outlying IDF bases. And also the IDF, makes a lot of these missions to countries in need where there's natural disasters. So we were preparing all the packs full of medical supplies to be used in these, these life-saving missions, and also to the various IDF units. It was It
was a wonderful
Wow.
experience because suddenly all these people that had never met before, suddenly the camaraderie is extraordinary. We're working on sort of a line, an assembly line to put things together. We're helping each other. We're helping the civilians. We're helping the military. And we're helping ourselves, and we're helping the state of Israel. And so suddenly, after day 1, we're best friends.
Amazing.
It is, and you keep in touch with people after your time, and you go home, and then you go back to your routines.
And it's all people who care about Israel. It's amazing.
And people that they're not necessarily Jewish. Half of our unit was not Jewish, and that's how it typically is. Every unit
You hear
that I served in.
So Jew, non-Jew, that's the answer to that question. It doesn't matter. If you're 18 to 80 and you can handle it, you can help, you can volunteer.
And we had people from Italy, 2 guys in our unit specifically this last time, 2 men from Italy, not Jewish, worked so hard,
Oh my God.
loving Israel. We had a guy from Slovakia, we had somebody from Mexico City, we had people from Great Britain, we had people from Canada, some U.S., Florida, New York, I'm California. So you have this mix of dissimilar people, and the only thing that really ties us together is our love of Israel.
Amazing. Amazing. So Israel was the first responder in Haiti, as you guys know. And we flew urgently. We flew my brother, who's a photojournalist and also a paramedic. So we flew him to document what was going on in Haiti, because one of the things, sadly, is that we don't see the beautiful pictures of the way Israel, when they arrive, are so helpful and save so many lives and help women give birth to their babies in the midst of a catastrophe and earthquakes and all kinds of things. So, and they come with their own batteries, and they leave gifts. Oh, by the way, they leave gifts without, like, this is from Israel. Now they know to say, you know, this is for a gift from Israel. They used to incubators. They've left incubators, things for other countries after the whole catastrophe is finished, and it didn't say a gift from Israel, which is a nice reminder that
Sure.
they were there and they were helpful.
Well, it's programs like this that give credit and help with the public relations, because for years Israel was weak on public relations, good on other things, but weak on PR. And it's programs like yours that really help get the word out. So that's so important. It's really a mitzvah that you're doing.
We must. And we're about to take a break, but this is so fascinating. Think of another experience that you could share, because packing items for, you know, zones that have just, you know, experienced something horrific is a great example of what a volunteer can do if they actually come along with you. So we'll be right back. Don't leave us. Welcome back to JLTV. I'm Roz Rothstein, your host of Stand With Us. I'm the CEO and co-founder of this amazing Stand With Us organization. Today we're here talking about Volunteers for Israel, a very, very exciting opportunity for those of you listening and want to get involved. We are going to repeat the website now. It's info@VFI-USA.org. Go to it, find out more, and make sure that you consider this, because this sounds like a great opportunity for involvement. And I want to ask you in this last segment, if you can tell us some stories about how and why this is important. Once you get there, what do you do? What do you feel? What do you see? You're on an army base. You talked about the camaraderie. Tell us about that.
You live the life of an Israeli soldier for a couple of weeks. You sit with them amongst, you know, in the mess hall, eating with them. They feel delighted. They feel supported, you know. Also, there's a bit of element of adventure to it. On one base, we were, myself and a bunch of soldiers were detailed to move supplies from one base to another. So it was a long trip through the desert. And when we get there, we find out that we're lucky because there's a high officer visiting and the food's going to be good, you know, on the base. And it's I just want to say, it's such a sense of fulfillment, you know, doing this.
And you've done it, you said at the break, more times than you can count. So you have done this. You have gone with Volunteers for Israel more times than you can count. So you could actually go more than once if you want to. If you qualify, I know there's interview process, right?
Yes.
There's an interview process. So we want to just make sure everybody is able to handle this.
And is loyal to Israel, you know. And is
loyal
you
to
know,
Israel, and it's an important task. We talked at the break about organizing things for missions and things like that. Tell us about it, Marcia.
Well, for example, I was on a base attached to the Air Force. It was Air Supply, and we were designated to meet paratroopers, soldiers who had been studying to be paratroopers and learning how to be paratroopers. And they do first jump. And so we met them, and we had made food packs for them, so that it's very early in the morning on the beach. And they came down, and you see them coming out of the sky. Extraordinary heartwarming experience, and we went up to them to give them food after this jump, and without exception each soldier said, "I will take the food, but first I must call my mother and
My
tell
mother.
her that I'm okay."
Not my parents, my mother. I love that.
And you know, that humanity, you know, just a little vignette, that humanity says, you know, these are real people from
Yes.
real families. And so you attach to these guys and women and understand, you know, where they're coming from. This is their duty, their obligation, their privilege to serve in the Army. And that's how I see it. I see it as my privilege and obligation to serve Israel because this is my safety zone. And without Israel, no Jew has a safety zone. Israel is our safety zones. And so it's so important for us to be supportive to the country.
It's important to be supportive to the country, even if you're not Jewish, and even if it's not your personal safety zone. We have one of the most productive, incredible little countries in the world. In a short amount of time, the things that they have accomplished, the gifts that Israel has given to the world, even with California helping with the water crisis we have here, and in South Africa,
yes,
with, you know, helping them with development and you know, farming and incredible water development and just technology. It's just mind-boggling.
It's technology, it's literature, it's social science, it's medical, it's everything.
Yes, so when you say safety zone, I think it's everybody's safety zone, because without some of the advancements that are coming out of Israel, we would be in big trouble and way behind in so many different ways. I heard that there's a new, God willing, possible cure for ALS coming out of Israel right now. So, and so much, and the use of medical marijuana, and you know, just so much is going on there that it makes everybody proud. So we want to support Israel. So thank you so much for being with us once again. I want to point you to the website. It is info@vfi-usa.org. You can get involved. You need to have the money to get yourself to Israel, and then you live on the base, and then they give you freedom from Thursday to Sunday, where you go to local motels or wherever you want, I guess.
Yes,
you could go
sure.
wherever you want.
Yes.
You can go play in Tel Aviv or
Yes.
play in Jerusalem or whatever you want to do, and then you come back to the base. And typically, how long does a person stay on the base?
They have 1 week programs, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we know people from our experience who do this for 3 months.
Oh.
Because this is how they've chosen to live their lives. And sometimes they're from cold weather climates, and so in the wintertime, this is what they do.
They're snowbirds to Israel.
Yes, yes.
What an idea. Snowbirds to Israel.
Yes. So you can pick how long you want to go, minimum 1 week, but then you can choose how long you want to stay and how many segments you want to do.
So what if you're over 80 and you're quite capable?
You know something?
I have to ask this question.
We had a volunteer I'm friends with who did it until he was 84.
Okay,
He lives
you
in
hear that?
Yes, he lives
Are
in
you listening?
He lives
Okay.
in San Diego.
84.
And he was actually more helpful than anyone. He had been trained as an engineer, and he was just a wonderful man.
So it's not a hard and fast rule, this thing.
No.
The first time you go, you have an interview with an ambassador, and then if your doctor says, "Oh yes, you can do this and everything," then you can go.
Can I say Simon was his name, the man from San Diego, and he's a wonderful man.
Wonderful guy. So I'm so sorry we need to wrap up this fantastic conversation, but I encourage everybody to find out more about Volunteers for Israel and get involved. And thank you so much for coming. Hopefully
you.
you'll come again.
Thank
Yeah?
you so much.
All right. Thank
Thank you. Great
See you
program.
next time on JLTV. Stand with us. Bye-bye.
נמצא את התשובה.